Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome back to the level design tutorial chapter. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to replace this ugly blockout meshes with 3D models that are coming out from the asset packs that we're downloading from Unity. And then pretty much like making this environment believable. So I'm going to show you guys my usual workflow with the replacements and how I'm going to bring this scene to life. And then after that, please take your time and then flesh out the rest of the world any way that you see fit, right? Just design a very good play area that we can basically add a lot of content into. Just keep in mind that we are building some sort of shape, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of visualize what we're building here, right? So in this paint diagram, I'm going to basically draw out what we're going to design together in this chapter and all the upcoming chapters in this section, all right? So what we're going to do, guys, is essentially, I might just make it a little bit smaller than this. There we go. So we start off with an area like this, a little opening, and then basically there's a little drop over here. So this is basically what we have right now, right? So just roughly, right? So this is where the plane is, and then this is where the player starts, and we've got like boulders and things like that here. We got a little opening. So basically that's going to be the case all around here. So with that, guys, the player goes over here, and then there's this little ledge here, and then the enemies over here, and then there's a drop here, right? So what we do is basically there's like a couple of other, boulder challenge courses here. What I'm actually thinking of doing is, let me just fill out this area with white as well so we have more room. What I'm thinking of doing, guys, is having another area here where basically we're going to guide them over to this side, right? So it's going to be an environment like this where they can basically travel to this area, just traverse through this area, and then we're going to have maybe another platform kind of environment where you can jump over and then get to an area like this, right? And then essentially the final objective, the final puzzle is going to be over here. It's sort of like a ruin kind of environment where they have to solve some sort of puzzle here to get the treasure, right? We're going to keep it very simple, but all throughout here, there's going to be some action courses and then some bonus material over here as well. So essentially, if they jump on this platform, there's going to be a little puzzle here as well where they can access some sort of bonus material. So just roughly, guys, this is what I'm basically doing, roughly. And then basically we're gonna want them over to jump through these discos and travel over here. So essentially, what I'm planning on doing is something like this. Go over here, then go all the way over here, then over here, and then you got two parts here. Go here or go here. So this is optional. It's always good to have an optional area that your player can explore to if they want to unlock some sort of goodie, right? So this is not needed, but if they do, it's great. They're gonna basically unlock some sort of hidden thing in your game, or else they can simply go over to the main puzzle here and then access the treasure at the end. There's gonna be a puzzle there, but all throughout they're gonna face a lot of enemies, and then obviously there's gonna be challenges like falls, and then there's enemies and things like that. So essentially, this is my map. This is what I'm trying to emulate, but feel free to create your own map. It's completely up to you, but make it creative, make it uneven, all right? The best tip I can give you guys is make your map unpredictable, right? It should not be, I'm just going to draw something here. It should not be a rectangle, all right? It should not be like a square. It should not be predictable, guys. It should be very real. Like if you look at the world around us, and I want you guys to pull out a lot of inspiration from your experiences. Sorry, I pressed that wrong way. I want you guys to pull some inspiration from your own experiences. Have you guys gone on a family trip somewhere? Have you seen some sort of very interesting landscape or some sort of architecture that really piqued your interest? So look at some photographs, look at some real world examples of areas, cities, and forests, and see how the map is formed. It's very uneven, right? It's never just a square. It's never just a rectangle. It's always this uneven stretch of land with certain gaps and certain formations, mountains, and all kinds of things. So as you can see here, it was just very random. With my mouse, I just drew this random area. The more random it is, the better it is, guys, because it's more believable, right? So when I say random, don't create just weird shapes here, like stars with pointy edges and things like that, but make it blocks of lands like this. it's kind of believable in a very forest kind of environment, like a rainforest or Amazon kind of forest. You'd see that the land is very uneven and it's kind of weirdly shaped, but then there's massive blocks of areas that you can explore. So keep that in mind, guys. With that, let's jump into this. I just wanted to preface this by telling you guys how to design your world. But essentially, I'm going to start off with this block of land here and then design the world here. And then I'm going to move on to the rest of the world by looking at this plan over here. All right, so it's always good to go to Paint and draw your little land there. That being said, guys, I have downloaded an asset pack, the nature pack, which I've shown you guys earlier. And I've also downloaded this pack over here. So this is the Rock and Boulders 2 pack by manufacturer K4. So feel free to download this. I've put the link down below as well. They have some really good looking cliffs and kind of rock boulder kind of situation going on here, which is pretty awesome. This is exactly what I want to replace these rocks over here, right? So I'm basically gonna start doing that right away. I'll show you guys my usual way of doing it. So let's open up that folder as soon as I find it. To be over here. Yep. Got rocks over here and then some prefabs here. Then over here, if you drag this up, get a little preview as well. So I want really tall formations like this one, right? Awesome. Look at that. That looks great. So I'm just going to put this over here and then basically start creating these formations. Right. So guys, with anything, with any game, guys, like it's all about these assets that you get. Like they can really make or break your game. If you get really good looking ones, you can actually sell your environment really well. But if you get terrible assets, it's going to be hard for you to sell that environment, right? Make it believable. So feel free to also scale your environment assets just to make them fit into the world. So for example, this guy, I'm going to drag him back in and then I'm going to rotate it just to add a bit of randomness, and I'm going to also turn them around, kind of add like a different shape to it, scale it. I'm going to create a duplicate of that. I'm going to also stretch it up a bit, scale it like that so that it's more believable, guys. So there's obviously, and then you delete this when you're happy with it, and then fill these gaps as well. So I'm going to duplicate. It's all about duplicating and then scaling them, rotating them to add a level of randomness and believability. So there you go. See how this wall just suddenly took some shape? It looks really good, right? Good, right? Like it looks very believable. So that's exactly what I want. And then I'm gonna pull this over here, just stretch it out a bit. Because these are all rocks, right? They're not supposed to be like very uniform in shape. Sorry, I'm just really zoned in on this, and it's kind of hard to talk while doing that. But this is basically my workflow with this. Love it. And then you can basically delete this wall. Look at that. All right, just like that, super fast. I can start designing my world without taking too much time. It's all about just in your head, just start designing it in your head and stop overthinking it. Simply just start placing these things in. And suddenly you have this really good looking environment. Let's run this. Look at that. That looks great. It looks awesome. Yeah, very believable already. Okay, and don't worry about this camera going through the rocks and things like that. So there's a chapter in the bonus, not the bonus one, in the FAQ troubleshooting section. There's a chapter for camera colliders for Cinemachine. With that, you guys can set up your camera to collide with the environment as well. So feel free to have a look at that later. But yeah, this looks great. I'm going to keep going with that. I'm going to show you guys a bit more of this level design. Then I'm going to leave it to you guys to design your level and then move on to the next chapter. All right. So this looks good. I'm going to bring in a different kind of rock as well, just to add some variation. So this actually looks perfect because I kind of want to create a little opening like this here. So I want like a really tall, perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. I want like a really tall structure that can create this formation. All right, and I'm going to kind of tilt it as well, just to add a bit of change over here. So it's also important to go ahead and delete this as well. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move it over here, change this like that, and basically tilt it a little bit like this. Right, and I'm going to move it back a little bit so that it doesn't get in the way. There's a little path here, or else like the player is going to struggle to get through that area. All right, this is pretty good. And I'm going to stretch it up a bit, move it up like that. This is awesome, guys. It's already looking pretty good. So we want to replace this section as well. I want to get formation like this. Keep in mind, guys, the more you do this, the more natural it's going to feel for you. All right, so you might not get it perfect the first time, but keep playing with it. The more you work on environments, the more it starts making sense. Right, these environments sort of start coming to you. Work on them, kind of start making sense, and in your head, you start making calculations and start picturing the world, and you're like, hey, it would be nice if there was like a little hood over here. So instead of just normal formation, you kind of feel like it would be nice if there was a little hood over here. It would make sense, right? And then that actually doesn't look natural though. I'm not too sold on that. So feel free to experiment, and yeah, this looks pretty good to me. Awesome. Look at this. All right, let's play through this again. Wow, look at that. That's nice. All right, and then you should be able to go through these now, and then yeah, the other side, and then you get shot. Look at that. It's already starting to look really good. And there's this mountainous area at the back. Can you guys see that? And that's what adds that detail as well. It's pretty awesome. And it's already starting to take its shape. And let's have a look at painting some trees and foliage onto the world as well. So I'm going to do that within this chapter as well. So what we got to do, guys, is you guys already know how to bring in 3D models into the scene and replace your environment. That's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of spending some time and building that environment. But as a last thing in this video, I'm going to show you how to paint trees, paint some foliage onto your terrain. All right. So what we're going to do is select this terrain, any of these terrains, guys. Select this terrain for starters. Just go over to paint terrain as the first thing, right? And then drop down and then click on paint texture. All right. What we're going to do is, guys, we're going to go to edit terrain layers. All right. And then click create layer. With that, guys, we basically have access to different types of textures in our game. We should already have a grass texture, I believe. So I'm just going to search for it. Right. So grass. No, this is not what I'm actually looking for. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So like a very uniform, flat 1024, 1024 kind of texture here for the ground. I'm going to get that in. And when you do that, guys, it immediately paints your entire ground in that texture, which is fine. I'm completely okay with that. But what you can do next is, guys, go back here, create another layer, and then search for grass again. But there was another type of grass here, which is the more drier version of it. And then with that, guys, you have multiple layers here. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Click on this dry layer, and then you can also use the brush tool here on the opacity here to basically paint on top of this. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to increase opacity. See how you can now paint over this, feel like a blend of it. So this was not good. I'm going to undo. Just decrease the opacity just a bit so that kind of like it should make sense. So this clearing should kind of have a little bit more drier look to it, right? Simply because there has been some planes parked here before of some other treasure hunters, or maybe some vehicles came over here and parked, other treasure hunters trying to find that treasure, whatever it is, right? Because of those reasons, that area is kind of like less grassy and more like dried out or whatever it is, right? And then you kind of want to paint like a path here as well, just lightly paint a path. It's a very faded path here. But that shows that, you know, people have traversed, people have gone through this before, this area before. That's how just the real life map would even look, right? little opening over here as well. So see how it kind of now blends in and it kind of makes sense. So that's how you paint the texture, guys. Now I'm going to show you how to paint some grass as well. So to paint grass, guys, and also feel free to add as many layers as possible here. So you guys can get more textures from Unity Asset Store. There's a bunch of them completely free of charge. You can use them. So feel free to layer them on top of each other and start making more sense out of it, right? And then let's go over to paint trees here. Actually, let's go to paint details first and put some grass in first. So paint details and then go to edit details here and then add grass texture. All right. So that should open up a window like this. In here, we've got a detail texture slot. Just click that little dot there and search for grass. And you should have a few grass options, right? I'm going to go with this guy because it seems to be more grassy than the others. It's completely up to you. Double click that. And then you can add a healthy color to it. So it's basically like a tint and the dry color will look like this. Feel free to experiment, but don't worry, you can always come back and update it as well. Then you can also set the min height and the max height. But I'm just going to click on add right now. And then I'm going to start painting and see what it actually looks like. I just paint, and that's what happened, guys. It is extremely tall. So let's fix that, okay? What we had to do is just click on this grass texture, edit details and edit. And then let's reduce this max height to maybe 0.8 and then min height to 0.2. See how it just went down? But I still feel like it's a bit too much, maybe. But I feel like it's something to do with the color. I really don't like the color. It's too green, right? It should be kind of like faded green kind of thing. So feel free to bring down this color a little bit like this. Yep, looks way better. And yeah, just do that, and then also change this color as well a little bit. All right, that looks definitely much better. And then don't have it uniform like this either. So I don't really like doing that. So I'm gonna get rid of this grass patch completely, guys. How do you do that? Hold on Shift and paint over this. That way you can erase your grass meshes. Instead, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring down the opacity a little bit, target strength a little bit, and I'm gonna start painting. It's still bad. Undo, bring down the opacity, target strength even more, and then there you go. Now it's a bit more random, which is basically how I like to paint these grass textures, guys. It has to be random. It kind of has to make sense, just like in real world. You don't have uniform grass all throughout. You may, but it's not exactly fully uniform. Now, if I run the game, you can see that it's a bit more patchy and a bit more believable than before, right? Now, we're going to bring in another grass texture. Now, let's go back to this. Edit details, add grass texture. Same process, but I'm going to bring in a different grass texture. So we got really tall ones. Yeah, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to color down a little bit, get a little bit darker. Min height is going to be 0. Maybe I'll make it 1. It can be a bit taller. Max height, sorry. And then min height is going to be 0.4. It's a bit taller than the other one. And let's click on this new one. And then again, same values. I'm going to paint over it. So this is too much. Do that. All right. Go. And then there can be little areas where the grass patch is a bit more dense, just randomly. Like that. There you go. That would make a bit more sense. All right, now let's run this. See how it's a bit more believable now? It's a bit more believable there. So it's kind of random. It really adds that flavor, guys. Makes it really believable. See? And the more random, the better, guys. Let me tell you that much. The more random it is, the better it is. So I'm going to add a different type of grass texture as well. Mix it up, and feel free to layer it. I'm going to add this one as well. I'm going to also reduce the max height to 0.8, min height to 0.1, so that it's random. And I'm going to color down a little bit. I'll make it a bit more drier, and then add, go here, and then there. That looks great, okay? And then you got this little dense patch over there. See how it's very believable? And if I run this, Goodness, that's starting to make sense now. It's way too bright for me. I'm gonna definitely bring down the colors a bit more. So let's click on that one, edit, and it's too dry. Let's make it a bit darker. See how the color just went down a little bit there? And the greenness as well. Let me adjust it a bit. Apply. Let's look at that. Yep, I like it. Definitely like it. So I feel like it's still a bit too bright, but I wouldn't worry too much about it, guys, because you kind of want it to be a bit different. Like you want it to be apart from each other. Like you don't want all the grass textures to blend in and look like it's one. So a little bit of difference here and there is fine. I'm still not sold on that color, but yeah, feel free to play around with that a little bit more and bring down the color a bit more. I think the green is a bit too flashy. There we go. I like it. There we go. That's awesome. And other than that, guys, feel free to do that. And then we're going to do a bit of trees as well. So what we're going to do for trees, guys, is I'm going to have some trees over here just to sell the effect of a depth in your scene, right? Let's go to paint trees over here. And similarly, click on edit trees, add tree. And then you got a tree prefab over here. So click on the dot here for the selector, search for tree or whatever it is called in your asset pack. I think it was called something else actually. Let me see. In my nature pack, what was it called again? What was my nature pack called? I believe it was called. Guys, can you guys see it? I can't. Where is it? Super hard to find. Oh yeah, Dream Forestry. And then in the trees models, I've got. Oh yeah, they are not called trees. They're called redwoods. So I'm gonna search for redwood. There we go. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Like this tree. I mean, doesn't matter. Add all kinds of trees here. So I'm gonna add a few more. Redwood. I'm gonna add this second one as well. And I'm gonna add the fourth one as well. This is good enough for me. So similarly, guys, you got this massive brush. So if you paint like this, it just immediately creates a lot of trees here. So I don't want a lot of trees here. So I just want to have control over it. So that's why I brought down the brush size. But with that, guys, you can sort of have really tall trees here. You can add a bit of variation as well. And you can also change the tree height over here. So this is the randomness. So this is the lowest height. This is the highest height, right? So you kind of want it to have something like this. So it's more random, right? There we go. Another thing you can do for randomness, guys, is basically mass place trees. If you click on this, guys, what it does is it automatically paints your entire terrain with a lot of random trees. Let me demonstrate it to you, just so you guys can use it if you want to. When you click on that, you get a window like this, and it asks for the maximum amount of trees. I'm going to say somewhere around 100 trees. And then it's asking if I want to keep the existing trees. Yep. And if I click place, it just immediately places a lot of trees around your area, which is pretty awesome. Like it actually helps you a lot with a lot of randomness in your level, which is pretty awesome. I might actually keep them. But say you don't want certain trees in your scene. Like for example, this one is going through my rocks. That's not good. So I'm going to reduce my brush size, and I'm going to hold shift. Shift is how you erase anything in your terrain, grass or bushes or trees. So shift, click, you can delete that tree. Shift, click, I don't like that tree. This seems okay, I might keep that one. Yeah, so that way you can actually start painting some trees around your level. It's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna do one more thing before finishing this lesson. It's pretty long already, it's 23 minutes. I'm gonna add some bushes. So bushes, the same way as trees, guys. You simply click on edit trees here, add tree, and then search for bush or whatever it is called in your level. Yep, bush is fine. I've got a couple. These are the prototype bushes, right? So we can ignore those. I might actually go into, oh yeah, bush 1 and 2. That's exactly what they're called. And then click on that bush and then add a bush into your level. Now that's too tall, but I might actually add one here, right? In some areas, you're going to find it hard to paint simply because there's not enough room there for that model. So Unity wouldn't paint it there. I'm gonna add the second type of bush as well. So that's bush 2. Yep, so I'm gonna add that over here. maybe a couple over here, over here as well. With that, guys, oops, so I don't like that. I'm gonna get rid of that guy. It's kind of getting in the way, so we don't want that. There we go. Much better. I'll be very honest, guys. I'm not a big fan of these bushes. They don't look that good. I feel like it's something to do with the height. So I feel like that's what it is. I might actually get rid of these bushes, and then repaint them. It's just too tall. Like bushes, and I'm sure there are tall bushes, but I don't really like them that tall. It's just kind of weird. So I might actually go here and then reduce the tree height to a lot, and then paint again. See if that paints anything. Where is it? Yep. So I guess it's like a minimum height to it, but I'll be very honest, I might actually get another asset pack for the bushes. They aren't the most good looking bushes. They're kind of weird. So I might not do that. But guys, overall, I think you guys get the idea. Start building the rest of the world, guys. And then as you can already see, it's kind of believable already, which is pretty awesome. You guys can see it has a little personality to the environment now, which is pretty awesome. And with that, guys, that's the end of the session. And feel free to keep building your world. And don't worry about the harsh look that your game has right now. The lighting is pretty harsh and it's kind of not soft and not too good looking. Don't worry about it. That's post-processing. That's fog. We're going to start working on them in the next lesson. And trust me, it's going to look amazing after that. So keep building the world. Don't focus too much on the graphics. Focus a lot on the level design. Make your environment believable. Bring it to life. And then basically make it very random. And try out executing your plan over here. All right, that being said, see you guys in the next